Hi everybody, it's Jess and I'm here with the last video in the Valentine's Day Cardapalooza series. I can't believe we've done 5 of these already. So for today's I thought it would be really fun to experiment with some alcohol inks. I picked these up, geez, a couple weeks ago and I haven't even gotten the chance to use them. So I wanted to bust them out, and this is what you're seeing on camera is my first time ever using them. So I don't, really know what I'm doing. I just looked up some sort of instructions, kind of Googled, and it was really, really easy to pick up and create some cool stuff out of them. So I just wanted to show you. I'm using 3 colors here. I have this sort of pinky, purpley color, and a deep purple color, and a silver. And what I'm going to do is just take my ink blending tool. That's like what I use with distress inks. And I have these foam, or these felt applicators. That's the important part here, is you don't want to use the foam, you want to use the felt. And you get a bunch of them in a pack and they're only like, I don't know, $2 or $3, really cheap. So I'm just sort of dabbing the color onto the foam, felt, just squirting it all over in a kind of sort of a pattern, and then I'm just using a little bit of the silver because I know that the mixatives are usually pretty powerful. And now I'm just going to sort of pounce it on here to my project, and you can just see the vibrant, almost neon color, and I'm just sort of swooshing it around, and it is so pretty in real life, you guys. It almost looks like glass, and it just has such a cool effect. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but I am working on glossy cardstock. That is a must when using alcohol inks. You need glossy cardstock. It will not have the same lustrous effect on just your regular cardstock. So now I have another piece of glossy cardstock here, and I'm just, going straight back and forth, doing some lines, which I also think looks super awesome. This could not be easier. You just touch it down to the paper and you can come up with a different and cool look every time. It's really neat. So I am going to add a little more mixative here with the silver and just kind of experiment a little bit. And I'm doing this all on the craft sheet. That's another tip. You want to make sure you stay on your craft sheet because these will stain your work surface. So the craft sheet is a really easy way to make a big mess and easily clean it up. And now this one I'm just sort of like dabbing it on there really fast. And I put in a little bit more of that silver, and that's really showing up, and I like that look. And I wanted to try to see what the ink blending solution would do. That's actually helps, to move the color around once you put it onto the paper, and it's supposed to like sort of take away the color also. So I'm just sort of flicking it on there to try to get different sized bubbles or splatters. And I liked that result too. I'll show you that panel in a little bit here. And this is also another tip to clean up your work surface. You can use the alcohol blending solution. It removes the ink. So it was a really quick and easy cleanup, just a little bit of scrubbing and a little bit of the solution, and it went pretty quick. So here are the 3 panels I created. I just wanted to show you the different effects that we got here. I'm actually only going to be using one of them in today's card, but I have them ready to go for other cards later on. So now I'm taking this Parker alphabet die. It's the lowercase alphabet die from Memory Box. And it comes, I haven't actually used this die yet, and then they come all attached together, which is nice if you want, to not have little pieces floating around. But for the technique and look that I wanted to do on today's card, I actually had to cut them all apart. So that was really pretty quick and easy. I just used my Tim Holtz scissors. You do want to be careful though, because the edges will get quite pokey and stab you in the finger. So watch out. Now what I want to do is I want to die cut the words at the bottom here, falling for you, because this is a Valentine's Day card. I thought it was kind of a cute little sentiment. So I'm just sort of working from the bottom to the top because that way I'll make sure my spacing looks right. And I'm just going to go through and die cut each word at a time. So I've got the spacing there, and I'm not being exactly perfect. I didn't make any lines or anything, but I just line them up, and then I'm adhering them temporarily with some washi and then running it through my Big Shot, and you can see that's how that looks. And this is a piece of Nina Solar Bright cardstock, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. So now I am doing the 4 F-O-R. And you need to keep in mind that when you are die cutting things this way, like your center of your O will not hang on just because of the way the die is, but that's okay. I liked that look. I thought it looked kind of cool. And it will allow more of the inside to show through, and you'll see what I mean here in a little bit. Now the falling was a little bit trickier, not only because it was such a long word, but because I only had one L. So I sort of had to do it in pieces, and my L's kind of ended up getting crooked, but that's okay. You'll see in a little bit that this card sort of lended itself to having a few crooked letters. So I use that I have an extra I there as a placeholder, so I'm just using that to sort of help me guesstimate where the L will be. And then I grab my T-square ruler here to get these lined up just a little bit better. And again, it's not perfect. When it goes through the big shot, things sort of shift around a little bit, but that's okay. It doesn't need to be perfect. So I'm just going to grab my washi again and adhere everything down onto the card. And I'm using the same couple strips of washi over and over. Just pick a tape that you're not in love with. I have so much washi, I don't think I'll ever use it all up. So I'm not feeling too bad about using a few pieces for this application. So I've got the falling all die cut out now. And what I want to do here is take the rest of the letters or other letters from the set and sort of make it look like they are being poured onto the paper. So like they're falling down the paper, which sort of makes the falling for you sort of a punny sentiment, I guess. I don't know. But I wanted them to look like they were spilling down onto the sentiment. So you'll sort of get the idea here. It's kind of hard to explain, but I'm just washi taping each little letter where I think it would look good and kind of just filling in the spaces. And it's hard to do this on such a small canvas, but I wanted the top to be a little bit more concentrated and the bottom to sort of be a little bit sparser. And I didn't fully achieve that, I don't think, but that was the idea behind how I decided to space out these letters. So I'm just going to keep going, keep taping, and that washi tape will do fine in the die cut machine. It is so thin, it doesn't really make a difference at all. So I've got one half kind of all die cut out there, and then I have the other half. So there you go. That's the kind of effect I was going for, as if they're being poured from the top of the paper. We'll set that aside for a second, and I am just going to score my card base. It's a standard A2 size card, which means it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And that's that Martha Stewart stylus. I think I mentioned that in a video. I love that thing. It's super slick and easy to use. So we're going to bring back one of those panels that we did, and because I did 3, I was trying to decide which one I wanted to be behind the falling for you, and I ended up liking the stripy one just a little bit better than the other two, but they were all pretty cute. So what we're going to do here is adhere that to the falling for you portion of the card. So the other ones will just have white showing through. They won't really show up quite as much. And then the falling for you will have that bright, vibrant, almost neon pink behind it. So to highlight that everything is actually die cut out of there, I wanted to mount these on pretty high foam dimensionals. It ends up creating a lot of shadowing, and you really get the full effect of those letters being die cut out of there. And I'm just going to adhere that white on white, just kind of keeping everything plain and simple, and then just adding some gems just for a little finishing touch. So while I had all of my supplies out, I thought it would be smart maybe to whip up another one of these. But I wanted to do just a little bit different, so I just decided to do love you instead of the falling for you, and I didn't do any of the letters at the top. And I had that little piece still cut out, so I just wanted to use it all up. And a tip here, I would put your adhesive on your white cardstock instead of your colored panel like I did, but I didn't realize that till the very end. So next time I do this, I'll be a little bit smarter. But that's a tip for you. So now I'm just scoring another card base, and then I will do the same thing, which is use those dimensional adhesives and put that on the front of the card. And on this one, it was a little bit easier to do the dimensionals because I didn't have to like cut them apart and sort of creatively place them, because this was a solid panel, so I could just stick them anywhere I wanted, and that made it really quick and easy. And then you'll see the finished product in about 1 second here. And then I think I add some pearls and gems to this as well. And I wanted to mention, even on the other card, and I think this one as well, I actually end up using 4 gems, which sort of breaks the rule of 3, but not really, because I have 3 groupings of gems. So there's 1 at the bottom, and then 2 in the middle that are together, and then 1 at the top. So you still get that nice visual triangle, and you still are able to work, you know, sort of in the rule of 3s, but it's a grouping of 3 instead of just 3 gems. And I really think that really helps finish off that card. There's a photo of the falling for you, and then there's a close-up, and then the love you card. So thanks so much for watching, you guys. Have a great day.